I was thinking recently about a truly Canadian moment. I've had a few, but I would have to say something that I keep going back to is the power of an Olympic flame and Olympics themselves. I was 5 when the Olympics were held in Calgary. And truly, that started my love for all things Olympics ever since. Now, it was with careful persuasion that my mom and grandma, so my mother's mother, it was with that careful persuasion that I got to be a part of the torch relay. My mom's good friend Karen was one of the torch bearers, and I just remember, I think it was nap time, and I was just ornery. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. But with that careful persuasion, I got to hold, with Karen, the Calgary torch. Then, of course, we all know 2010. Well, with the age of social media, that was amazing. A torch relay that was pretty well entirely documented and recorded. That was pretty amazing, and I really understood how vast Canada really is. As a country, as a nation, I believe that it's moments like this, an Olympic torch relay, or various other activities that really unite us. I watched pretty well every day that torch relay, even for an hour. And as I got closer to Moncton, I remember being very, very, very excited about the opportunity to see it. So much so that I went torch hopping on Main Street, St. George Street, Mountain Road, and Macbeth, which are 4 main thoroughfares in Moncton. On my last torch hop, which would have been Macbeth Avenue, not too far actually down from the hospital, I remember waiting impatiently because a good friend of my family's at the time was carrying the torch, and he was the 3rd from last torch bearer. It's a moment I'll never forget because this particular person had an affiliation with our junior hockey team, the Wildcats. And all I remember is he passed by me in the next spot where he was to finish. The entire Wildcats organization had lined the bridge and was running with him on the bridge. It's something I'll never forget. From seeing the flame the first time on Main Street and just being in awe to see it personally and to remember more this particular time. Then I went to St. George, like I said, I torch hopped, and it was Russ Howard. And I had met Russ after the games in Italy, in Torino, of course, with his gold medal. And I stood there proudly with his family as I encouraged him as he started by saying, "Go, Russ, go." It made me realize how small this city is, but yet we think big. Then I got Mom at this point, and Mom went to Mountain Road, and we saw the torch go by, and we basically followed it to a safe enough spot that we could go to the next road. That day was seriously the most amazing day. I really strongly believe that that spark lit in 1988 with my mom's friend Karen. And then being able to be a part of the torch relay as an observer and as a fan of all things Olympics made me so proud. And I think really, honestly, this is the most Canadian moment that I have truly experienced. I'm just thinking of it just makes me just, as you can see, smile, and I believe that this is a moment that defined me as a person and defined Canada. I remember the Olympics themselves. I remember crying the entire, and I mean entire, opening ceremonies because of two things. It was 8 o'clock in British Columbia, but it was also midnight in Moncton. And I stayed up for 4 hours straight. For hours, like I think it was 4 hours or 5 hours, something like that. And I remember Clara Hughes, and I've actually discussed this with Clara on Twitter. It was an emotional roller coaster from that moment to the end. I remember being moved by Alexander Bilodeau going to see his brother, not only in Vancouver, but he did it also in Russia as well. And I actually screamed at the TV during the Olympics in Russia, "Go see your brother!" And my father came in and was like, "Are you okay?" So really, it's an emotional attachment to all things Olympics and to how amazing and how powerful Olympians are, not only locally, but nationally. My defining moment as a Canadian was the Olympics, not only in '88 in Calgary, but the Olympics in Vancouver.